Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Mirror of Psychology. Please subscribe this channel for more psychology related information. In today's video, we are going to learn about long-term potentiation. When we learn something new or make memories, our brain forms connections between brain cells called neurons. These connections between neurons are called synaptic connections. If we don't use or repeat the information that we learned, then these connections weaken and we may forget the information. So the process of connections getting stronger or weaker is called synaptic plasticity. The process that explains how these synaptic connections get stronger when we repeatedly use certain information is known as long-term potentiation. This is the presynaptic neuron which sends the messages, and this is the postsynaptic neuron which receives the messages. And the gap between them is where the synapses are located and the transmission of information happens and the synaptic connections are formed. Now let's zoom into the picture of a synapse. A synapse is made up of the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron and the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. And neurotransmitters are located in the axon terminals. The postsynaptic neuron has two types of receptors, AMPA receptors and NMDA receptors. When a weak signal passes through the presynaptic neuron, it releases a small number of neurotransmitters such as glutamate, and this glutamate binds to both the receptors. This binding of glutamate acts like a key to a lock and causes opening of the AMPA receptors and influx of sodium ions inside the postsynaptic membrane, but not the calcium ions because they can pass through the NMDA receptors only, and the gates of NMDA receptors are blocked by magnesium ions, which prevents the entry of calcium ions. So NMDA receptors are special and they just do not open their gates for a weak signal. It's just like briefly hearing some information but not understanding it. So now when a strong signal passes through the presynaptic neuron, it causes more release of glutamate, due to which the AMPA receptors are opened for longer duration, which leads to more influx of sodium ions inside the postsynaptic neuron, and this heavy influx of sodium ions kicks out the magnesium ions from the NMDA receptors. So the NMDA receptors gates are open and this causes the influx of calcium ions inside the postsynaptic membrane. Calcium ions are important for the induction of long-term potentiation, and they trigger a series of events inside the postsynaptic neuron. In the early phase, the calcium ions binds with the protein kinases in the postsynaptic neuron, which leads to the insertion of new AMPA receptors into the neuron's membrane. With more AMPA receptors, the neurons become more sensitive to signals. It's just like upgrading your phone to get better reception. But this is not all. In the late phase, calcium ions also kickstart gene expression and the production of new proteins, which leads to the formation of new synaptic connections between the neurons, making the memory stronger. It's just like expanding your social circles by making new friends. So long-term potentiation strengthens connections between neurons, making it easier to remember and learn new things, even with weaker signal. It's just like our brain's way of saying, hey, this information is important. Let's make sure we don't forget it. So when LTP functions normally, we can learn and form memory at ease. However, abnormalities in LTP leads to various neurological and psychiatric disorders such as Alzheimer's disease, Autism, Schizophrenia, depression, etc. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe this channel for more such videos.